Have you had problems with your second gen Tacoma, key not coming out of the ignition? Me too. Check this out. Okay, well, I'm back, and unfortunately, I'm not talking about the Jeep, I'm talking about the Tacoma. I have a 2015 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road. I've had it since it was brand new, and it's got about 140,000 miles on it. And luckily, I haven't had any problems with it. But all this week, I've started having problems with it, and that problem is getting the key out of the ignition. I've started doing research. I almost bought a new cylinder for it, and was trying to figure out how to program the keys because these are chipped keys. But I decided today that I was going to dig into it a little bit further before I did, because I've been reading some forums and finding some different stuff out. I don't know the exact problem of what I'm having, but I do know that, one, I tried to change keys. This key looks about brand new. This is the key that the wife keeps in her purse. And this key, compared to the key that I normally used, these are all rounded off pretty good. So this key, in fact, the interesting thing about this key is I noticed here a while back that my key that I normally have wouldn't unlock the doors. And I actually thought the door, there's only one door that has a cylinder in it. And I actually thought that the cylinder something was wrong with the door, not the key. Well, when I got this key and I put this key on my key ring, the first thing I did is try the door, and the door unlocked. So I know the other key was worn out. But all this week, even with this key, and I just tried this key today, start the pickup up, head to work, which is about 20 minutes down the road, stop, shut the ignition off, and goes into accessory, won't go past that. It won't turn back far enough for the key to pull out. And I've tried everything that the forum said, wiggling the steering wheel around while working the key, working the shifter around while working the key. Actually, for a couple days, it actually helped to put it into neutral and then pull the key out and then put it back into park. That worked for 2 days. And then that quit working. It wouldn't come out in park, or like today, it wouldn't come out of park or neutral, even with a new key. So I was just getting ready to order a new ignition cylinder, ignition, whatever you want to call it, and replace the whole cylinder. And of course, I'd have to have new keys, which it has the key immobilizer. So I'd have to figure out how to reprogram that, which I found, I don't know what would be cheaper. I haven't called anybody around town locally, but I did find online. So it's Tom's Key Company, and it's $79.95. It's on sale right now. They'll send you to the device, and you actually have to use an app on your phone, and then it's a $70 deposit, and you'll get the deposit back if you send it back within 30 days. If it's after 30 days, then you only get half of your deposit back. But I decided today to dig into it a little bit further, and pretty much what I found was, when I got home, the key, there's nothing I was doing, that key wasn't coming out. So the first thing I did was disconnect the battery. As soon as I disconnected the battery, the key would come out just fine, which apparently tells me that there's something electronic messed up, not the ignition cylinder itself or the key. So then I pulled the steering column apart, and there's one piece in there that I don't know what it is, but it has some kind of an electric coil sitting on top of it, and it has a plug with 2 wires. When I unplug that plug, the key will come out. Now I do know that when I play with the shifter and go back and forth with the shifter, like just moving the shifter back and forth out of park, I can hear that coil clicking. So I was wondering if maybe the coil is losing its magnetism in there, and isn't quite, whatever it's pulling on or pushing, it's not quite pushing it far enough to release that key. So I couldn't get it out. There's one little Phillips screw, it looks like, that holds it in. Apparently you got to take a bunch of the steering column apart to get that screw out, because I couldn't get the screw out. Just at a bad angle for a screwdriver. But I pulled the cylinder out and messed with it. I mean, there's really not a whole lot in there that it could go bad, unless the key's just not working with it. All it does, it seems like it just turns back and forth. So there's really nothing that can go bad in there, I don't think. So looked inside there. There's a little spring inside the steering column, part of it, and moved everything back and forth. Pretty much I just took and lubricated everything. I know people will say not to spray PB Blaster or anything else in there. Originally I put some graphite in there, dry graphite, sprayed inside of the cylinder with the key, and put it back together, and it kind of worked. So then I ended up pulling it back apart, and I ended up taking some dielectric grease. There's obviously grease in there from the factory, and most of it's worn out or gone. So I figured I'll just try a little bit of dielectric grease and put in there, and now everything seems to be working fine. So I'm not sure if I need to take it for a drive and see if something's heating up and not allowing that key to come out, and now it's cooled off, or is it something that I did and I cleaned out. But that one little coil piece, I'd like to know what it is, because I do know there's two things that I know of that you get your vehicle start, or at least my pickup started, if this happens again, is to disconnect the battery and the key will come right out. And the other one is to disconnect that coil and the key will come out. So don't know what's going on. Maybe somebody on here could give me some advice. But I have a little bit of footage of me tearing some stuff apart, looking at some stuff. I'll add that now. But I wanted to get the main part of it there out of the way and see how it goes. So, all right, well, we'll roll into tearing it apart and looking at what everything looks like in there. Okay, so to get this cylinder out of here, I just grabbed a hold of this back corner and just wiggle this forward. I think it's broke a little bit, but I guess this is your key immobilizer. This is what talks to the chip inside your key. And then there's a hole back here. I just took an Allen wrench, a small Allen wrench, stick it into that hole. Oh, we need the key in there. Put the key in. I also found out that this wire here is what disconnects your buzzer, so we don't have to listen to that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I do this with two hands. Can you see there? But there's this hole back here. I take this Allen wrench, poke in there, pulls that out part way. And there's another hole down here. And there it finally come out. Okay, so what I've figured is that box right there on top So what I figured is, I think it's this. I could unplug this wire right here, which plugs that, looks like just a coil in. When I unplug that coil, the key works fine. Everything seems to work fine. So I don't know what this has something to do with the shifter. Because when I move this back and forth like this, I can hear that coil clicking. But I'm not sure what it pulled. I'm afraid to turn too much of this in here because I don't want to make this worse than what it already is. But I don't think that, maybe this coil's not pulling something hard enough in there to allow me to let the key back out. I'm not even sure what it does in there. I turned that a little bit, but like I said, I'm afraid to turn it too much and have something fall apart and then not know how to get it back together. Because as of right now, it's drivable. But I need to know what everybody's thoughts are on what this thing right here is. It's coil, some kind of coil. Okay, I sprayed this thing with some dry graphite. I don't know if it's going to help or if it's going to do anything, but to put this back in, you just remember this button goes towards that back hole, and it should just slide back in there. And I have this plugged in. Of course, I'll plug this back in. It's not going to start because I don't have this back on there, but as of right now, it's turning out of there. I don't know, it's feeling awfully rough pulling that key in and out of there now. I did change keys, so I did. I've had the same key. I think this thing's got 134,229 miles, and I've had the same key. I went and swapped this out with the wife's key because her key is basically brand new, to see if that was the problem, and that wasn't the problem. Out of gear or out of park, reverse, drive. Oh, there it hung up. Yep, it's back in park. It won't come out. Oh, I wiggled it a little bit. Alright, well that's all I got for now. So far it seems to be working good, so I don't know if the dielectric grease did it or what. It seemed to work better than spraying it with dry graphite. It seems to be turning good, seems to be springing in and out when you have to push in to get it all the way out, and so we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'll drive it tomorrow, but within the next few days, or at least by Monday, I'll drive it to work, and maybe I'll have an update of either it's going to work or it's not going to work. So, and I'd still like to know what that coil is in there, in case that is the problem. And I know, hopefully, how to get the key out if I have to. I'm going to keep a 10mm with me so I can disconnect the battery. So, alright, well that's it for now. Till next time.